Welcome to the Elevated Marketing podcast show that is designed for business owners and marketers who are tired of overhyped advice. We talk through what we're testing, we challenge assumptions, and we share what's really happening in the world of marketing, which is messy, creative, and always evolving. Welcome to the show. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another Elevated Marketing podcast, and today we are going to talk about mentions and citations online. So you might have been hearing more about this, and it might feel like maybe something new or similar to things that you've heard before. Like a lot of marketing tactics, these are old as time, strategies as old as time. The tactics have changed, though, and they really matter when it comes to owning your authority and visibility. And then we'll just throw in that AI presence, search presence, as this has evolved. So I do want to continue to mention Southside Voices. So that is our new podcast with Scott Gilchrist and maybe. And we are interviewing local businesses, telling local stories, really in the trenches. Really proud of that podcast. So you can go over to southsidevoices.com and get the latest show there or wherever you listen to podcasts. So let's get to our topic today, and I'm going to get my notes up. But so as I wanted to go through this topic, I just wanted to, in this blog post, kind of explain, and I say blog post, and I know we're talking right here, and we're doing this on a show, but per usual here lately, there's a lot more information in the written format that you'll want to go over there and go take a look at. And for the purpose of today's show, it's way too much information. So, it's a stronger brand presence is what it is. It's people talking about you online. That's really what those are. And so there is a difference between mentions and citations. And, mention is anytime your brand or business or product is referenced online. And a citation is often with a link. And, historically speaking, it really was like search ranking foundation. So search engines use links and references as like a proxy for authority. And it's your digital reputation. So before there was even any like being mentioned in AI, it was press, it was blogs, it was directories. It was like this third party validation that your brand existed and that you actually mattered. And then it was SEO, maturation, where, as marketers move beyond links alone towards a diversified visibility, earning brand mentions on high authority publications and industry directories became, core ranking signals. And just to be clear, I'm not saying you necessarily had to have links and mentions in order to rank. Remember, it was at that time, about whether or not you were doing better than what your competitors were doing. So I always want to say that because I think there's always this big debate about links matter and they don't matter and mentions matter. So, the game has really changed here recently with AI search, and it continues to change. And, I'll have to continue probably keeping things up to date with as things have changed. But your brand does get mentioned now or not get mentioned if somebody is in some sort of like AI search, and there's a decline of pure click-through metrics, like people actually clicking through and going directly over to your website. That decline is happening, but people are still talking about you in the circles. And those circles might be just talking with a bot in AI answers. So what I did do is I went through strategy versus tactics. So giving you a framework for dominating in mentions and citations. I went through different strategies from building a foundational presence with each one of these, what that strategy means, who it's for, where it needs to happen, when to implement that, why it matters, and level of difficulty and key actions. And then gave you some examples of that happening, in a real scenario that would be relevant to your business. So I gave, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4 different strategies. And each one of those strategies, there's also has to be like a roadmap. So an implementation roadmap, this is not a campaign at all, and it needs to be tied back to marketing that you're already doing. So there's foundational marketing, depending on where you're at. There's growing, and then there's mature. And as you are growing or getting your foundational online presence to your growing to your mature, you can kind of advance to more tactics because you've got kind of the groundwork. For instance, like foundational visibility set up in the beginning could be just auditing and cleaning up your name, address, and phone number across all listings. Basic schema markup. Then there's phase 2 that could be 6 to 18 months. So you're kind of maybe starting from scratch if you don't have any existing content online. And let's not forget that all marketing is content. And so you have to start writing that content and having something to pull from there. That phase is definitely not a 60-day checklist. It could take 12 to 24 months to build up the content where, not that you can't put out content right away that maybe could help with AI search and showing up there. So I want to preference that. But if you have a brand new website and you haven't been doing any talking, or you have a website that's been around for a while, but you're not producing any content on the website, whether or not that's written, audio, or video out there, then there's no information for people to kind of grab. And when I say people, I mean like search engines or AI search engines or whatever you want to call them. They have to kind of form those opinions about you, and then getting those mentions and citations. Well, people aren't going to talk about you if you're not talking about yourself and kind of telling people what you are all about. And that's really the real basic part of what mentions and citations. Obviously, you'll see in the blog post there's some very like specific tactics that you will do. In phase 3, like you are authority layering and reputation acceleration. So this is where maybe you're doing those guest articles like Haro, so help a reporter out commentary, outreach for partnership, and you're getting all that out there as well. So, and you can, depending on your level of business, maybe get through things a little bit quicker. There is effort versus an impact, and so I kind of created a chart on that so you can see like what the tactic is, the effort, the impact, and then just a couple notes on that as well. So, of course, I have the measurements to track that is in there as well. So I think, this isn't a trend. And I always try to look at all marketing, like, is this a trend or is this just good marketing? And this is just good marketing that has evolved. So for people that do know me, I've been around since the Yellow Page days. I know I don't look that age, but when you're cleaning up your listings across the internet, you're not optimizing for NAP citations. What you're doing is what smart marketers have always done, is they've made sure their store name, hours, phone number are accurate wherever people looked at. I mean, back in 1994, and we don't even have to go back as 1994. Like, I got out of the Yellow Page business in, I think it was 2006, and it wasn't long after they stopped printing. I guess that was a little bit ago, but you still wanted to make sure everything was correct. So now it's Google My Business, and it's Health Grades, and it's all those places. So the mediums changed, but the principles didn't. When you write answer ready content in a structured format, you're not feeding the algorithm. You're doing what every other good salesperson, educator did before, is you're answering the question clearly before your customer asks it again. So that question comes through a human or a machine doesn't change the value of being helpful and being direct. When you establish entity authority, so through schema and third-party profiles, that's what we call it today. You're not manipulating Google's graphs. What you're doing is what we've always done, is we're owning that identity across all the channels. The pre-internet days that look like matching your business card to your signage, your magazine ad, your TV spot. Today, it could be LinkedIn, it could be Wikipedia. When you earn third-party mentions, it's not a citation strategy. It's just earning credibility, public relations through thought leadership, word of mouth, other people validating you is really older than advertising itself. So, this isn't really a new bag of tricks. Like, the tactic is different, but it's tightening the bolts of like what works: clarity, credibility, consistency, and presence. So across like all the platforms that people are doing. And I'm just gonna say, like, is it tough? Yeah, it's tough. But I think a lot of times, people start off with this like tactic. So the tactic that people might say is mentions and citations, and it's just good marketing. That's what I really want. The message is it's just good marketing, and there are specific things you have to do with all those, and you have to look at the resources that you have and what part of those you can do, and looking at where you are to your whole online journey, and deciding, how do I implement the next steps, and just keep reinventing and paying attention to what I need to pay attention to next. So, okay, I think this is yet another topic that you'll have to go check out the blog post so that you can get all the information that you need on this. My name is Jennifer Denny. I own Elevated Marketing Solutions, and if you enjoyed today's show, certainly leave a rating and review on any of the podcast networks. Follow me on LinkedIn or subscribe on YouTube. So, all right, everyone, take care and have a great day.